welcome to the Beesies.
I'm Abby.
I'm Brittany.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Mackenzie.
Remember the college days when you were best friends with your roommates?
We would come home and talk about anything and everything together.
We miss this phase so much that we decided we needed this quality roommate time again.
So welcome to the Beesies. Come over and get cozy with your new favorite roommates.
Welcome back to a new episode of the Beesies.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah.
We usually say this at the end, but in case you guys didn't know, you can watch the podcast also. We have probably 15 or so episodes recorded now, video and audio. So you can find us on YouTube at the Beesies podcast. So just in case you're like, you know what? I want to see these beautiful women. Go watch us right now.
Yep.
But still download the episode so we get the download.
I know. That's the thing is you get the numbers and yeah.
Oh, whatever. Numbers. They don't even matter.
Basically, every Monday morning I play it on Spotify, on Apple, and on YouTube to get all the
Nice.
Just kidding. That's
So
a
you're one of our top 9 listeners.
100%.
The people who have 9 people, you're their number 1 podcast on Spotify.
Oh yeah.
You're one of them.
We got our Spotify Wrapped this year. That's right.
We did. It was so fun and hilarious all at the same time.
Yeah. How do you
was
guys
great.
feel about your Spotify Wrapped? Or you guys have Apple Music,
Yeah.
so whatever.
Same thing,
No,
though.
I know what you meant. I think that it my top 5 songs, they just represent me perfectly. Obviously, but
yeah.
number 1 is Hentai by Rosalia, and number 2 is the Days of the Week song. And I just think that
Days of the
that is
Wait,
Days of the Week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Days
do you
of the
play that
Week.
in class?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
Wait, what was the other song? Can you sing it?
Hentai by
Yeah.
Rosalia.
I don't know.
It's
how
in
to
Spanish,
familiar.
so no,
Oh,
I
okay.
can't sing it.
I love that. Those are great top songs.
Yeah.
If you want to know something really embarrassing, you guys know what hentai is, right?
What hentai actually is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I was a little
Okay.
shocked when I saw it on
Okay.
there because I was
Yeah,
wait,
okay.
what?
I don't think I do. Please educate me. Or can you not on
No,
the podcast?
I can
Okay.
educate you in. Let me think of how to do this in an appropriate way.
It is
Hentai.
yeah, you do it, Kenzie.
Hentai. It's anime sex, right?
Oh.
It is think of
anime
Korean
porn?
anime or whatever
love
show. What's those words? Yeah, anime, porn. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
adult films.
So I'm actually the stupidest person alive. And so I started listening to this song called Hentai, and it's like a slow song, and it's really beautiful. It's in Spanish,
Oh.
so I don't understand a word. But I was since it's a slow song, I was oh, hentai must mean something different in Spanish.
Oh,
This must be
no.
about something sad because it's a slow song. I'm literally listening to this song crying.
Oh no.
Thinking about my life. I'm oh my gosh, this song is so beautiful. And then I look up the translated lyrics, and it's oh, nope. Hentai means what I thought it meant.
Yeah. So it's a romantic song.
I don't even know if you could call it a romantic song.
I need to go look it up after this.
Can you
now.
share
Yeah.
a lyric with us?
A translated lyric.
Yeah.
If it's too bad, we can bleep it out.
I want to ride your bike.
Okay.
But it probably sounds
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a beautiful song.
That's amazing. Wow. I love that. My Apple Music Wrapped, whatever it's called, was better this year. Here's the thing. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I don't usually have a ton of music I listen to throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, pretty much my entire top 15 songs were all Noah Kahan.
Yeah.
because his new album came out, but then he re-released it
Yeah.
with extended songs. And so it's all that, and they're all like very moody, depressing, alternative.
But they're so good.
So
I
they're
love his
so
new
good.
album.
Yeah, 1 second, I need to take Winnie out.
Okay.
Side note, no, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Noah Khan, but Olivia Rodrigo does a cover of Stick Season.
Ooh, I saw it. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
She is amazing. I love her.
I think I
Who?
saw. Did Noah?
Olivia Rodrigo
Oh,
did
yeah.
a cover of.
Did
Yes.
he comment on that
Season.
video and was like, "Okay, it's your song now," or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
As it should
Oh,
be.
she stole that song. She took
Yes.
it and was like, "This song's mine now."
Yeah, it
She
was
did
good.
So good.
It was so good. He has been on his collab grind this year also. So many of his songs he has re-released with
Mhm.
featuring other people. And like honestly, if you haven't already listened to it, the Post Malone version of Dial Drunk is actually so
Oh.
good.
I've heard the Hosier.
It's really
Is that how you say his
yeah.
name? Yeah. His
yeah.
feature was so good. I love that song too.
Yeah. That one is incredible.
Noah Khan killed it this year.
Yeah, he is incredible. Honestly, the highlight of my year was seeing him. But what I was
Yeah.
going to say though is last year my Apple Music Wrapped, half of it was Christmas music
Mm.
because
Me too.
well, partly I listen to a lot of Christmas music. I should not like put the blame somewhere else, but what I didn't know was that one of my parents' HomePods was set up under my Apple ID, and I had made a shortcut for them to play music, Christmas music on it from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single day.
Oh no.
And so it was thinking that I was listening to all of this
Christmas.
Christmas music
Oh no.
constantly. So when I got my like Apple Music replay, I was like, this is a lot of Christmas, and that
Like,
was
I
why.
swear I didn't do that. That's so
Like I wouldn't
funny.
be shocked.
Yeah.
But it was like the one of the top 5 songs was a Christmas song, and I was like, okay,
I love
this is
that.
interesting. But, yeah,
Going
it's
back
great.
to Noah Khan real quick,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that he should win like he should be in the
Everything.
running of like best new artist for a Grammy next year.
He was nominated for something. I can't remember. He did get nominated for something, I'm pretty sure.
Like, because I don't know. I
I
mean,
should know.
you know, when it comes
I
to
don't know if
best
he's
new
considered
artist,
new though.
but like that's the thing is, even though
Sabrina
what
Carpenter got nominated for Best New Artist.
Right.
And
Really?
they like categorize it as like new, as like this is your first year of being like a popular main.
Got
yeah,
it.
that like he's
Okay,
been
I
making
was gonna
music for
say.
a long time, but this is the
But
first
this
year
year-
where I feel like he blew up, and now all of a sudden he's like, all right, best like one hit in the charts and stuff like that. I feel like he should be in the running for sure because yeah.
I'm pretty sure
I-
he did get nominated.
I was just-
I feel
I'm
like
gonna
I
look
saw
it
a
up.
video of him like crying on the couch.
But if he's against
Yeah,
Sabrina
he-
Carpenter, he probably.
Oh,
I think she
he
takes the
he
cake
was
there.
I-
nominated for Best New Artist actually for 2024.
Yeah,
I think he could beat Sabrina, and I love
think so.
Sabrina Carpenter.
yeah.
Sorry,
I will
Avery.
vote for him.
We'll see.
He's the love of my life. And he's also Scots, so it's fine.
Perfect.
He's incredible, like especially live. I don't know if I ever showed you guys the video from his concert, but there was a storm that night, and so the theater lost power for a second.
Oh, you did show us this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically all the lights went out and everything, and then like the emergency lights came on and like the fire alarms were going off, and it was crazy, and they like figured out that everything was fine and it was safe, but then he started singing Call Your Mom, and there's a part where it literally says like all lights turned off will be turned on, and that's when like the theater lights came back on. It was a chilling experience. It was so cool.
You're like,
If you go to my TikTok, I posted that part of the video.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
that's so cool.
But I love him.
My Spotify Wrapped made me laugh a lot because I don't know.
It was
how
all
this-
Demi.
It was all Demi. Like the
That
first 5
your top 5 songs. That was
All
so
being Demi
funny.
was wild.
And
Wait, did she have a new album this year?
she had a new album last year. Okay.
That's
This
even
album
better.
is like my favorite album to work out to. So I do
There you
listen
go.
to
Okay.
it like
That's what
every
it
time I
is.
go to the gym, right? Yes. Like makes sense. If I go to the gym like 3 times a week and I listen to the album, it's going to play. It made me laugh though, because the number one song, it was like, when Spotify introduces you music, or you introduces your wrapped like information, and they'll be like, there was one song that really connected with you this year and like meant something so much to you. And I was like, oh, okay, what song is that?
Yeah.
And then it shows up the song Heaven, which is about female pleasure, like self-pleasure. And I was like,
It really connected with
wait,
you.
what?
That's the same when when Apple Music was like one song meant the most to you.
Yes.
Hentai. It was like,
You're
oh,
like,
okay.
okay, I guess I am.
I
my
guess I-
mind's somewhere else. But I
That's
was
so
really
funny.
upset that there wasn't one Taylor song in my top 5. But it makes
That's
sense.
kind of wild.
Because like literally after her concert, I'm not even kidding you, Champagne Problems was on repeat.
Oh my gosh.
Then after The Summer I Turned Pretty, Exile was on repeat for like a week. And
Cruel Summer had its moment for me.
Cruel Summer, like all of
Yeah.
them. So I'm like, how is this not
Yeah.
in the top? But I would imagine that they're like really close. I don't think there's too much of a break between like the top song and I wish I could see my top 10, you know?
Your top 10 what?
Like my
Oh.
top 10 songs. Because I would
Does
want
it
to
not
know
show
it.
can.
you?
I don't think
You
so.
can.
I
Yeah.
don't think Spotify does.
You can see your top
Apple-
100 songs.
Oh, it does make a playlist of them. Maybe I have to go back and
Yeah.
look at the playlist.
I need to look at the playlist because I would be really interested to see
Or
the
top
full
50. I don't know if
breakdown.
it's 100.
Yeah. But it really
Yeah.
made me laugh. And then the artists that were the most played was Taylor Swift was one, and then Demi, Ariana Grande, and Billie Eilish. And those 4 are all in my workout playlist. So I was
Yeah.
like, this was just the year of workout playlists. Like,
And allegedly, Ariana's supposed to be releasing new music in January.
oh yeah.
So,
I'm sure
so
she'll
excited.
hit my top 5 if that's true.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
that.
Guys, I saw this post the other day. I have to just laugh with you about this. It was like it was like on Lemonade. Every once in a while I'll go back on Lemonade just for like a fun moment or kind of like a Pinterest ideas type of thing. So I saw it, and the first image was 5 artists that I stopped supporting this year. And I was like, oh, I'm curious what this is. It was the first picture was a picture of Taylor Swift. I was like, what? Scroll through, it's like Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift. I was like, what is this?
Your top 5.
And then in the comments, she was like, they've all sold their souls to the devil. Like,
Ooh.
Same.
All right.
so funny.
I thought it was going to be like for political reasons, but no.
That
That took a
too.
turn.
It was like political reasons. They've all sold their souls to the devil. Ariana Grande is a home wrecker. Taylor Swift is like worshiping false, or like if we worship Taylor Swift, the amount of posts I've seen this like last month about, I stopped listening to Taylor Swift because my pastor told me to stop worshiping false
Oh my
idols.
gosh.
And like I prioritize her over Jesus. I was like,
As you should. Just
enough of
kidding.
this.
Doesn't she have a song called False God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Checks.
those kind of things make me laugh really hard, and I love trolling
love
in the
that.
comments.
That makes me sad, though. It reminds me of remember Girl Defined?
Yes.
When they were like, "Oh, I realized I was too obsessed with boys. I had too many crushes." It's like you don't need to feel shame for loving something
I
so big.
know.
Yeah. If anything, it's awesome because it's like you are able to love something so much. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
a good thing.
The post
Yeah.
that I saw was like saying, I was the biggest Swiftie. I went to her concert. I listened to her albums, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I love her music. I've been listening to her since I was a kid, but I went to church one day. They had this lesson on false idols, and I was like reevaluating things in my life. And she was like, when I have a moment in the car, like by myself, what do I listen to? Do I listen to gospel music or do I listen to Taylor Swift? And it's always Taylor Swift. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
There's just a time and a place for everything too. Like if you're driving in the car, you shouldn't feel guilty about just listening to the music you want. Whereas like maybe when you're getting ready for church, don't be listening to Taylor Swift all to all
Yeah.
10-minute version, you know? Like
Yeah.
but again, if that's your preference.
Right.
Like for example, this morning while I was getting ready for church, I put on piano Christmas music. So I was like, I want to listen to Christmas
Ah.
music, but I also like want to feel peaceful right now.
Right.
Just again, my personal preference, not like I
Mhm.
felt like I had to.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially with music, like there's a time and a place for all of it. So
It just like makes me sad seeing somebody drop something that they love so much and completely eliminate it out of their life for this reason, when it's like, okay, there is balance in everything.
Yeah.
And like you can find a happy medium. You don't have to lose everything that like defines you or you love or
Mhm.
something, you know?
And also, like I feel like we go as a society, we like go after women who like love things so much, like
Yeah.
teenage girls and stuff. We go after them for loving like boy bands and pop stars and stuff. And like, I don't know, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, girls like sports too, but like boys, it's like, why aren't we talking at church about like how boys need to stop watching sports because they're worshiping
Right.
false idols? They're too obsessed with their fantasy
yeah, it doesn't
football.
seem
like,
balanced.
yeah.
Or like how many guys did you know growing up who would brag about like them playing video games till super, super late at night and then talk about like, oh, this video game, blah, blah, blah. Like they play with their friends. It's like, okay, you're spending so much time on that and you love that and that's a hobby and that's great. But like, I'm not allowed to like listen to a boy band for a couple hours a day or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and especially with video games, like typically they're pretty violent too. So it's like,
yeah.
hold on. Yeah, it's definitely not balanced.
I have
But
heard people talk about that.
boo,
We're like, yeah,
men.
guys are allowed
Just
to
kidding.
like things. Guys are allowed to be excited. But when girls are excited, like they're obsessive and they're crazy and weird.
They're
I'm like,
crazy, and it's like, oh, they
Yeah.
need to like educate themselves. They need to do something better with their time
Yeah.
instead of like listening to boy bands.
they need to learn how to bake bread and be a homemaker.
Honestly, that's my life goal.
At Brush Bakery. Yeah.
Honestly, I asked Scott last night because I always joke that he's house husband because he does most of the cleaning, because he is the best house husband. And last
Uh-huh.
night I was like, do you think I'm going to be like a good housewife one day? He's like, yeah, like you'll do lots of like baking and stuff and you just might not clean. He's like, yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good at that part of homemaking.
Yeah.
I can bake everyone goodies.
I was
But-
talking with our friends the other day and they told me that you made 30 loaves of bread for them. That's a
That's
lot.
true.
I want to know, how long did that take you?
It was intense.
You made
total-
30 loaves of bread for one customer.
Yes, that's true.
Who? We'll cut it out. Who was it?
I
Jackson.
mean, it was Jackson. I don't.
Was it for his
I'm sure he
family?
doesn't care, but
no, for his for their like work Christmas party or something.
Oh, okay.
or I think they're
Yeah.
like giving it as gifts or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
Oh,
holiday
that's a great
related
gift
for their
idea.
clients.
Yeah. Yeah, so they the customer ordered 15 plain and then 15 cheddar jalapeno loaves.
I love that. We just like name dropped him, and then we're like the customer.
The customer. It probably took, so I prepped the dough one day. So it's hard because there's a lot of like gaps in time.
Mm-hmm.
So like making the dough initially takes like 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then every like 30 minutes you do stretch and folds, and that like the actual process of it is 3 minutes. Like it's very quick.
Yeah.
Shaping all of the loaves is what took the longest. That took
Yeah.
like 2 hours straight.
And you
And
probably had to
then-
bake them in shifts, huh?
Yeah, so I actually baked 6 the first night while I was still, so I like shaped them initially and got them in the fridge to proof. And then once I was close to finishing shaping the rest, I started baking those. And then the next day I baked the rest of them, and I was baking from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh my god.
But again, same thing with that is like that's a long time.
Yeah.
But like I put it in the oven, wait for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
uncover them, bake them another 15 minutes. So it's like it's a long period of time, but I'm not doing a lot during it. Well, like, but it's nice because then like I took time to do stuff for like the podcast Instagram and then like my bakery Instagram. And so I was doing other productive things, and I actually had just like my regular weekly orders too. So I also started those. So I was making more dough. So
what I'm hearing is you are ready to open your own bakery and get like an industrial size like oven.
It would be so nice.
And all that stuff.
It is so good.
Yeah.
The jalapeno cheddar bread is so good.
I've gotten so much better at making it too. It's so
yummy. I
yummy.
was gonna say you should have like a baking class at your apartment. Like
that would be so cute.
Be
like
we
learn
should
how to make
do
sourdough.
that. Just our friends even.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
And then just make like whatever dough we make, like you can use it later.
Yeah.
And like
I
get the
could
dough
have
that's
one
already
pre-made.
Yeah.
That would be really okay. Wait, we should do this. That would be so fun.
What if this is the start? Like, I don't. Going back to how we have been saying multiple times, we shouldn't monetize our like hobbies, and we should learn to like do something just because we love it.
Just don't monetize all of them.
Right. But I am also thinking, like, what if this is literally the start of like what you end up doing? And you like, what if you end up opening your own little bakery or something?
It would be my dream.
Like 20 years down the line,
my dream.
You're gonna look back at this time and be like, wow, you know, that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, I would honestly love it so much. I also did the math on like for that specific order. I was like curious, like, okay, how much am I making hourly, like outside of materials, all of that? And it was more than I work or make at my real job.
Oh, so you were like,
not by much, but I was like, interesting. Can I build up my clientele to be doing 30 loaves every single day? Because then I could quit my job.
Yeah.
So
can I make sugar cookies at your bakery?
Yes. Yeah.
And can we have like specialty sodas?
Yes. Wait. This is a dream.
I
love
specialty
this.
sodas is like I think that would be so fun. I've told my sisters about this.
Let's have it open on Sunday, motherfuckers.
Yes.
So delicious.
Actually, only open on Sundays.
Soda Rush. Swig, I hate you. You're not open on Sundays.
Right.
But like also like respect your beliefs. But like
what if
I literally forgot about that because I was about to go to Swig before this and I wouldn't have been able to anyways.
What if someone opened a store or a restaurant or something that had all the things that are closed on Sundays, like Chick-fil-A, what else? I just tried to do something the other day. That was closed.
I feel like I mainly run into soda shops and
soda
Chick-fil-A.
shops, Chick-fil-A.
Zupas.
Cafe that was
Rio.
it. And we
Cafe
call it
Rio's
open
closed on Sundays?
Wait, or Costa Vida? Isn't it closed on Sundays? Or have I just been assuming that it's closed on Sundays?
I don't know. I haven't tried Cafe Rio on
idea.
Sundays, but I did try Zupas recently, and they were closed. And
Meters,
I was disappointed.
if you guys are
Meters. So we'll open a place that is open, like with all of these types of food that you can't get on Sundays, and we'll call it open on Sundays.
I love that idea. Honestly, especially like little cafes. Like, so I just went to lunch with this girl I met in our apartment building right before this, and we went to a little coffee shop close by, and it was so cute. I was like, why is this such a vibe on a Sunday, especially? Like, this is so fun.
Sundays are Sundays are the cozy days.
They are. It's just about doing cozy things with people you love.
Yeah.
I love
Costa Vida is for sure closed today.
Okay.
Let me see Cafe Rio.
This is like
this is going to be a popping place.
Yeah.
We might need to franchise.
Maybe we'll do pop-ups where like
Cafe Rio is opened on Sundays?
Sinners.
That is shocking. I thought Cafe Rio was a Utah based.
I don't think so. I want to say it started in like the Pacific Northwest, I think.
What? Did Cafe Rio copy Costa Vida?
I'm going to look it up. Cafe Rio was founded in St. George.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
It is a Utah
I'm sure
thing.
there are some that are closed on Sundays.
Maybe
but
the owners are ex-Mormon, and so
Utah.
they like used to be closed, but now they're open, you know?
that's their act of rebellion.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I love this idea.
Anyways, should
Wow,
we?
how have we already been talking for 25 minutes?
I know. I was gonna say we should get to the point of this because it's just so fun.
Yeah. Okay, Abby.
Um,
Oh yeah, Kenzie.
I was just going to introduce that we're just doing 10-minute random topics today.
Yeah.
Each of us came with something that's been on our mind this week, and we're just going to dive right in.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay,
Love.
so I am gonna go first, and as you can probably tell with the holidays and the new year, at least mine is, I don't know if your guys' is, but what's been on my mind is the holidays and the new year. And specifically, I was just thinking like back, I feel like every new year I get very, what's the word? Like not thoughtful, but like in my thoughts a lot about like, wow, sentimental maybe, like just thinking back on like what was last year like at this time, where was I then, stuff like that, and then thinking like what is life going to be like in a year, and all that stuff. And so I thought that it would be fun if we kind of played that game of being like, where were you guys at a year ago at this time, and what do you think might be different a year from now in the future?
Yes. That's so crazy to think about.
A year ago, Derek and I had just moved in together. So now we like signed our lease for another 18 months, and we have a dog.
You do have
have a dog.
Yeah.
You have grown your family into a
I
full-fledged
switched
Lou.
jobs, which
True.
I am so thankful for. Like I'm on anxiety meds.
Did you start them in the last year?
I started them in January of this year.
Wow. Dang.
So I am less anxious, but more depressed.
Yeah.
So
It's a
you
trade-off.
lose one, you gain another.
You know, it happens.
Dang. Like, I feel like... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, where was your, like, mindset last year? Because I feel like part of me feels like not much has changed, in the sense that this time last year, I think I was struggling just as much as I am now, but in so many different ways. And like at the time, Atlas was only a year old, and I think I had just started putting her into like daycare and stuff. So I was like feeling a little bit of a relief, and everything was feeling good. And I was like really looking forward to this year, and like thinking, oh, it's going to be so much easier. Like it's going to be a really nice year. And it has not been that at all, with like so many different ways. So I thought that was kind of funny, where I was just like predicting like, oh, everything's going to be like, you know, pretty smooth sailing this year. And the summer hit, and I think we just turned into real chaos. But yeah.
That happens, so. I feel like my mindset right now is so much better than where I was a year ago. Like, not that I was like, I just wasn't taking care of myself, I don't think, like mentally or anything. Like I just was like pushing everything to the side. And I feel like this year I've tried to just be a little bit more head on and like call things what it was. Like I feel like a couple months ago, like I was very depressed, and I like in the past would just be like, oh, I'm sad, or like, oh, I'm this. And this year I was just like, no, like I'm depressed, and like that's not okay, but it's also like okay, like let's just work on it instead of pushing it aside. So I feel like my mental health is significantly better right now than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
So, but I also think I laid the foundation for a lot of where I'm at like over a year ago.
Right.
So I'm like, it's not something that is like a switch is flipped, you know, like it takes a lot of time. So,
well, that's what's so interesting is I feel like so much can change in 1 year, and also so much can be exactly the same. Like,
totally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do you guys think you'll be this time next year? Or where do you hope you'll be in a year?
Oh my goodness. It's so hard because I'm like, honestly, this year we've done a lot of things or like made changes that I'm so happy about. Like also getting a dog and like
Mm-hmm.
staying in our apartment and finally starting our podcast. Like we've talked about this for so long and I'm so
Yeah.
happy we finally did it. And like having a side hustle, quote unquote, that I really enjoy right now. So it's like I'm really happy with a lot of where I'm at, genuinely. So I almost just like want to like keep it going.
Yeah.
Because I also like, I wouldn't have guessed that I would have any of those things now. Like, if you asked me a year ago if I would have a dog, have a side hustle, have a podcast, I probably would have said no to all of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so unexpected too. So,
Um, I feel like I next year I'll be 26. I feel like I'll get like antsy a little bit. Like I'll want to make like a big life change, either in like my career or I don't like start a new hobby or something. I don't know.
Mm.
Or go somewhere crazy. Like I feel
yeah,
like
Mm-hmm.
I'll get antsy and want to make a change.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I think this year, like, the main thing this year that I want to do for myself is to find like a new hobby, something that I like doing, like completely on my own and like doesn't have to
Yeah.
do with like other people or like Andrew or anybody, like something that I just want to do for me. And like working out has been that this year, but it's also not because
Yeah.
there's
It's just
still so
different.
much that goes into that. And so I'm like, maybe I'll take like a ceramics class or maybe I'll join like a softball team or,
That'd
you
be
know,
fun. You
something
should.
like that.
I want to go to your game.
I want to so
Yes.
bad. There was
Wait,
this.
you should actually.
I know.
I want to go to the games too. I want to make shirts.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Wow, that's making me cry. That's so happy. That's like I love that.
That's so sweet.
Like so for Thanksgiving we played softball and like instead of doing football with our family we did
Mhm.
softball and I was talking to Andrew on the way home. I was like, that was so much fun. I want to do that like literally every week. And he was like, yeah, it was fun. Like, it was good. I had fun. And I was like, I don't think we are experiencing it in the same ways because, like, to him, it's just a fun sport and activity to do. But for me, it is literally like me revisiting something I loved as a kid and haven't
Because you
been
did
able
it
to
in
do.
high school, right?
Like high school, junior high. Like, I played softball since I was little. And so I'm like, it's like revisiting a passion that I haven't like been able to enjoy. And so I'm like, this is how I know that like, oh, this isn't just like a random fun little thing. It was like, wait, I
Yeah.
really, really love this. So anyways,
That's
we'll
so
see what
fun.
hobbies I develop this year, but hopefully like by this time next year, I will have something that does that for me.
I love that.
That's
And then
awesome.
you can ask us the same question and we'll see where we are.
Yeah. Gotta write down and like pull out what's the thing? Time capsule. Like make a
Yes,
time
yeah, yeah.
capsule. Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's what the podcast is for us now. It's like almost just like a time capsule of who we are. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
Okay.
even imagine looking back and like listening to these and then cringing and being
no.
like, oh my gosh. But it'll be fun.
Yeah. Kenzie, what's your
Okay.
topic?
All right. I feel bad because my topic is not as like interesting as that was, but something that's been on my mind and has nothing to do with the holidays or anything. Okay, I read an article. It's like an opinion piece on Bustle, and it's titled "Is Therapy Speak Making Us Selfish?" And it's by Rebecca Fishbein.
Oh, interesting.
Do you guys know like what I'm talking about when I say like therapy
Yes.
speak?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if you don't know, the audience, I know you guys just said you know, but this article talks about like this girl that was like just randomly dumped by a long time friend over text. Um they had been friends for like 5 years and her friend texted her and was like, "I'm in a place where I'm trying to honor my needs and act in alignment with what feels right within the scope of my life, and I'm afraid our friendship doesn't seem to fit in that framework. I can no longer hold the emotional space you've wanted me to, and I think the support you need is beyond the scope of what I can offer." And her friend was like, "What the hell kind of HR memo is that?
Hmm.
What what is going on?"
Yeah.
And um and I think that like our generation, we're so obsessed with like this therapy speak. I know a lot of like influencer therapists will give people like a blueprint of like, this is
Mm-hmm.
how you set boundaries and stuff. You use this type of wording. But to me, it like this person said, it feels like an HR memo.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes away like the compassion and like kind of like the realness that like the people in our lives deserve.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of therapy speak?
I think it has a time and a place. And
Yeah.
I kind of agree with the article. I've seen like stuff like that recently because I think it's so hard because there's also like sometimes a need for it. Like, especially like I think of like really toxic like family environments or just different relationships. And it's like you do need to be able to set boundaries for yourself and you do need to be able to put yourself first at times. But like, I don't want to feel like I'm having a work feedback conversation in
Yeah.
my personal life. And I think that's
Yes.
where it's like maybe just word it a little different, like give me a
Yeah.
little bit more realness,
Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
opposed to like how that is just be like, "Hey, I really love you. I think we're drifting a little bit. It makes me sad, but this is just where we're at in life." It's like that's fine. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to I don't know, especially because like at work, like we do talk a lot like that sometimes that it's like almost sometimes overwhelming where it's like, I kind of just want someone to come up to me and be like, "Hey, you did this. It upset me. Let's move on," or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Like just be real with me.
Yeah.
I don't need the fluff. But
Yeah.
then on the flip side, sometimes people are way too blunt and they don't
Yes.
share emotion and they make it manipulative. And so it's like, I think there just needs to be a better balance. I think pendulum has swung a little too much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um,
it's
it
okay
is
if you disagree,
interesting.
Abby.
No, no, no. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to say.
Yeah.
The thing in my mind, like a big part of therapy that like therapy talk that I think is difficult for people because maybe we haven't had much practice of it in the past, but it is an important part
Mm-hmm.
is validating people's feelings. And to
Yes.
some people, I think doing like that validation first before getting further in can be just really like I don't know what the word is, but
It's almost
ignoring the
uncomfortable.
problem. Like,
Oh, yeah.
people like first people want to know that they're not crazy for feeling the way that they feel. And so like
Yeah.
when you validate people's feelings, it does that for them and it helps them like kind of settle their feelings and you kind of have to feel your feelings in order to let it go. For so when people just suppress and suppress instead, like that's kind of what our habit has been in the past. So I think it is
Yeah.
really good. Like it is great that we are now discovering like the language of that and like emotional
Totally.
communication better than we have in the past. But I do think that it has been like people
We're
can
overcorrecting.
absolutely use it to manipulate sometimes. And like
Mm-hmm.
even in some ways, therapy, like my sister has told me this, but therapy for manipulative people and like narcissists and stuff like that is actually really, really bad because
Yeah.
they just use it to manipulate more instead of like actually getting better.
Yeah.
So it really depends. And yeah, I think it has its time and place. But I think the text that, or like the message that you read, Kenzie, is very interesting. And like, yeah, there's definitely times that I agree and I did like there are certain things I agree with and I
Yeah.
disagree with. And I think that
Yeah.
like as we are like if people start therapy, it takes a long time to be able to navigate like the right way to do it, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah. There just needs to be more balance.
Yeah.
Well, and I think also like if you're starting therapy, like you said, like your feelings are being validated, which is good, but sometimes we forget that like okay, if I need to set a boundary with a family member, sometimes we forget that there's another human being on the other side of that
Mhm.
boundary with their own complex
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and feelings. And like, I don't know, like, I feel like they talk about something called like mutuality, which involves thinking about the other person's needs and your needs at the same time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then deciding like who like which is more of a pressing issue,
Yeah.
and like going from
Yeah.
there. But she also gave like an example where like this girl had a birthday dinner and her friend showed up like super late, and she was like kind of annoyed with her friend, but I don't think she said anything. And then her friend texted her later and was like, "Your vibe was so off. Like, you made me feel unsafe and unloved." And like,
The
her
friend that
friend's
was
like,
late,
"Yeah," because I think that the like
she
the
was
person
probably
who,
like cold shoulder kind of
yeah,
thing.
and but it's like so intense, like
Yeah.
Mm.
like oh, I need to put up this boundary with you because you crossed this boundary because you made me feel unsafe. It's like, whoa, like,
Well, you know what
can
that sounds
we?
like more is that like that person has some past trauma that has like they have an
Totally.
issue with feeling unsafe and unloved, and
Yeah.
therefore like certain instances remind them of that feeling and bring it up and make it worse. And so what they need to do in that sense would be like go back to therapy and work on that trauma so that that's not a
Yeah.
problem for them anymore. So it's like
Yeah.
I
I think
I think
sorry, go
this
ahead.
self-care era of therapy online is being portrayed in a way that is not actually what therapy does and like how
Yeah.
therapists would want to communicate about these things. You know, and going back to kind of the like think about others and yourself at the same time, like on social media a lot of people portray it as put your needs first, put yourself first. Like it's okay to think about yourself. But like, you know what? It's also okay to think about other people. And like,
Yeah.
especially if a person is important to you, it is okay to consider their feelings when you want to
Yes.
do something. Like,
Yeah.
and a real therapist would try to work through that with you, whereas online people are going to tell you do what's best for you, and like
Yeah.
if they don't love you for this then that's their problem, like,
Yeah.
and they're not meant to be in your life, you know. So I don't think
Yeah.
it's an accurate portrayal on social media.
Yeah.
While you both were talking, something I kept thinking about too is that, like, in a lot of these examples, and I think, like you're saying, like the social media version of like therapy talk or whatever is very one sided in the sense that there, like you were saying, there's no consideration for the other person. But like in that situation, what also could have been better is um instead just being like, hey, is everything okay? Like, I didn't really feel great with how like you seemed a little off. Is there something that I did, or like can we talk about, like, have
Yeah.
an actual conversation, I guess, is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to get at.
Right.
Like,
Instead of it
don't
being
just
so
make assumptions.
one-sided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of it, like most of those messages are like the examples I've seen too, it's very like, I feel this way, so I'm going to tell you and I'm going to set this boundary, and that's it. End of discussion, no compromises,
Mhm.
no discussion at all. And it's like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
there's two people involved, because like the first person was hurt because you were really late, and it sounds like you guys are really good friends. And so like they're
Yeah.
hurt, but then now they're probably even more hurt because they also don't feel listened to or maybe safe from you. So
Yeah.
it's like it's perpetuating it, opposed to, like you're saying, going to therapy and getting to the root of it. It's like, well, you can also just actually have a conversation together.
Yeah, totally.
And get to the root of it together too. So.
Totally. Okay, so I have a follow-up question. I guess because this is making me curious then, like, how would you guys, in that situation that Kenzie, you read us, like, how would you
Mhm.
guys think the better way to go about, like, that conversation or that boundary is?
The friend that
the
showed
friend
up
one?
late.
Yeah, or, like, in any situation, I guess, where you might have somebody in your life who you want to, like, set up more of a boundary with in this way.
Mm.
How would you guys go about it then?
I mean, I feel like if it's a like a close friend, I feel like you can have an open conversation like, "Hey, like, you are always showing up late. It's bugging me. Like, from now on, like if I tell you that like we're leaving at this time, like I'm just gonna leave without you. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like be real.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think that's like, yeah, like just to actually have a conversation about it. Like
Yeah.
in that situation, let's say I was the friend who was bugged. One, I'm not very confrontational, so there is a good chance I wouldn't say anything. But I do think that if I was bugged in the sense that it was affecting my mood and I did think the other person noticed, I probably would have said something like, hey, I'm sorry if I was a little off tonight. I was kind of upset that you came pretty late just because this was an important event or whatever for me. And it just kind of made me, like, it hurt me a little bit that you did come late. So I'm sorry if it, like, affected you, how, like, I felt and everything. But, like, I also just need to share that with you that this is how I felt. But taking more of the approach of, like, acknowledging that something's off and then kind of going from there.
Yeah. That's the worst when you both feel that there's like tension. Like when two people feel that there's tension or discomfort or something going on between two people and like neither one wants to talk about it. That is the worst feeling in the world. Like I hate
Yeah.
it. I'm like, can we please just air everything out and move on
Yeah.
because this is making me feel so crappy.
Yeah. Well, and I think so now kind of switching to the other friend too, if I was in their shoes, I feel like also reaching out and instead just being like, hey, you seemed kind of off, is like, it didn't make me feel good. Because, like, obviously you need to still portray your emotions
Right.
too. I think that's a really important side of it. But then, like, just opening up for the discussion, like, is there something that I did that upset you? Or was there something else going on? Because also as a friend, it's like if I were in that situation and one of you were off like that, I also care a lot about you and I want to make sure
Yeah.
you're okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, one, I want to acknowledge it and be like, hey, I'm really sorry if, like, something I did caused that. But I also want to check in on you and make sure you're okay. And then still say, like, hey, it didn't make me feel great, but I also want to acknowledge that, like, maybe there's other things going on too. Because I think it's very, like, assumptuous. Like in this situation it was because of their actions, but
Yeah.
let's say she was just having an off night and it was something completely unrelated. That would suck to hear. Like, let's say like some big huge family event happened that was so bad and that's why she was like feeling off, and then the friend just comes in and is like, you made me feel unsafe. It's like, my grandpa just died or something, you know,
Right.
like I'm going through this really hard thing and now
Right.
you're adding on to it. Like that also sucks
That really-
to
yeah.
come from your friend.
Totally.
So it just kind of also goes back to like, you never know what's really going on. So have a conversation.
Yeah.
We recently had a counselor come into my work to talk about like just trauma informed practices. And something that I love that she said is like, um, she's like, you can vocalize those kind of like unfiltered thoughts you have about
Yes.
someone. Like, find a safe person. It could even be, I don't know, to your dog, whatever. Just say like, this person's a bitch, they're selfish, like kind of like have those unfiltered thoughts,
Right.
throw that tantrum, and then okay, then we can lead with empathy.
Right.
Okay, what's going on in their life? And kind of like meet in the middle from there. Because I
Yeah.
do feel like I have no research or data to back this up. This is just my feeling. I feel like our generation is really set on like, okay, if this person does like says something mean to me, okay, I have to go no contact with them. That's my
Yeah.
boundary. I'm protecting my peace.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Like I have like extended family members who have said really mean things to me, but like, I don't know. I still have to see them. Like
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, because then it kind of
Yeah.
sets you up for like a situation where, yes, you might see them, you might run into them. If they're a family member, there's a good chance you will see them in the future. And then if you do, is your mood completely ruined because you cut them off to protect your peace and now you don't have peace anymore? Like, you almost
Yeah.
have to figure out a way for like you to experience peace and be peaceful while amidst like things that might bring you chaos or like
Totally.
disrupt that, you know? And not saying, oh yes, like live in those uncomfortable situations or be around people that you don't like and just you control your emotions and therefore blah blah blah. But like you almost need to figure out a way where you can do both.
Yes.
And yeah, and be able to like, because yes, at the end of the day, like we are responsible for our feelings and everything. And if somebody is creating negative feelings within you, like by some of the actions they do, like that's fine if you limit your contact, but you also have to understand that those people exist in the world.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay, like with who
Yeah.
you are,
And
you know?
sometimes the meanest people, not excusing their behavior at all, but sometimes the most judgmental, like mean people where it's like, oh my gosh, like you think you can just like rule the world and walk
Mm-hmm.
over everybody. Those people are the most insecure.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
and for me, like that's actually has helped me like get over some of the mean things that people have said to me, because I'm like, oh,
You're
I
going through a lot.
you're no better than me.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you act like you're better than me, but you're not. And like also like me being more confident in my life and my life decisions, I'm like, okay, you could say what you want. Like I feel really good about my life decisions and
Yeah.
who I
Yeah.
am. It's so
This sort of like makes me think of people who, like in the political sense, like if they see something that is against their political beliefs, for example, like back in 2020 with the Black Lives Matter everything. And if like I know people who, if I was around them and they saw something, like maybe someone was holding like had an American flag on their like truck, or you know, something that kind of proved that like, hey, I think different, like I don't think that Black Lives Matter or
Yeah.
whatever, they were like, ugh, I can't believe people think that, like I cannot believe that there's people in the world that still think that, that's so upsetting, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
agree, that's extremely upsetting and I hate that just as much as you do, but also like you don't know these people and you are seeing them for you're seeing their car for 5 seconds, and that seems to ruin your mood for the entire day. And
Yeah.
it's sort of like you need to, yeah, this goes back to like some people during that time, I feel like decided, if you don't have similar beliefs with me, if you don't believe in human rights, all this stuff, I'm cutting you out because like you're not a good person, right?
Yeah.
And we have to understand that like 50% of the world believes differently than us about anything, about religion,
Yeah.
about politics, about whatever. And if we want to live in a world where like they don't like that, it's not possible to live in a world where they don't exist. And so if
Yeah.
you're going to choose to be upset or like have your peace be disrupted by the existence of these people, then like that's more something you need to work on within. And so that's kind of
Yeah.
where my thought goes with like setting up boundaries, is like, yes, you can set up boundaries that if you're friends with disrespectful people, you can limit your contact with them, but also understand that those people are there and you're never going to be able to completely cut them out of your life.
Yeah.
Therefore, you
Well,
have to figure out a way to be okay with being happy in a
Yeah.
world that where this exists. Does that make any
It
sense?
feels, yeah, no, it does. I think it feels very like one strike mindset too. It's like if you do one thing I disagree with, you're out.
Yeah.
Or if you have one belief I disagree
Yeah.
with, you're out. I can't. And yeah.
And we're just such complex people. Like humans are not simple, like
Yeah.
straightforward people.
Like
You
there's
know?
things that literally all of us disagree on, and yet we're best friends.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's healthy.
Right.
well, and well, okay, now it's like getting deeper.
I know.
But,
I'm sorry. We don't have to go this route.
because
but-
like
No, we can.
so like I think of like I know people in my life who have said some like horribly racist things about black people, and if I ever like if I had a black partner or a black child, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like this person I has said some awful things. Like I would feel like there would be a boundary in place
Yeah.
Mhm.
to protect that the marginalized person.
For sure.
Like, okay, like if I had a Black child, like you can never talk to my child about politics or
Yeah.
like whatever. Like it has to be like a very casual, I don't know, like surface level conversation. You can never talk to them about their identity or whatever,
Yeah.
just for their safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's so hard with a lot of it too is like you also kind of have to challenge those people too. Because I
Yeah.
think about, like, for me, especially with LGBT things, is I'm so grateful for the people in my life who kind of called me out on things that I said that were like not kind or wasn't being an ally or different moments, because it's gotten me to where I am.
Yeah.
And so that's what's hard with that too, is like, obviously, if they're not going to change and they're going to be terrible people, yes, have to do that. But I think it's also important that, like, if someone were to say something racist, you call them out on it and you say, like, hey, what do you mean by that? Why did you say that? That's not appropriate, because otherwise those people are also never going to grow.
Right.
And
But kudos
they're
to
never
you,
gonna
Brittany. Like,
change.
I think that like you changed because you already had like empathy inside
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not going to be that way with everyone.
Some people are like, they're
Yeah.
just racist and they will
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
be racist
Yep.
or homophobic. And like,
Totally.
and that is hard. That's kind of like a hard pill to swallow, that there are some people that just will never change.
Yeah.
And they're not worth your breath.
Right. Well,
That's
and you
so
also sometimes have to think, like, what's my relation to this person? Like, is this a close friend or family member? Then you may have more like more of that correction, like
Right.
teaching discussions with
True.
them. Is it like a random person on Facebook arguing with you? Like,
Gotta get those keyboard warriors out there.
right. It is so complicated, and right and wrong is like, sometimes it's not so black and white, but yeah, it just makes me like, those are just great examples, I think, of like a boundary setting, and like you can protect your peace like as much as you can, but you also have to do some of the inner work that like therapy does allow or like do for you to be able to kind of, I don't know, it's so complicated.
Yeah.
And
I love this. This is good.
that was that was interesting, Kenzie.
My topic is no
Thanks.
longer appropriate.
Oh no.
No longer.
No. Because what I was going to say is, I was just listening to someone who was saying, like, if you were going to like your family party or something for like the holidays, what specific controversial things would you bring up just to start fights?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And I don't know that that's appropriate to talk about anymore.
I think
As we just have this 20-minute long conversation about understanding people and being kind.
I think it's a great topic to end, like, on a funny note. It goes
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah, sure.
It goes well with
we
it.
we could say like hypothetically, what are some
Yeah.
things to start out? All right.
Hypothetically, how would you guys start fights this holiday season?
Like
Like-
it with family or with friends?
Yes, whoever you want to fight with.
Okay.
Some examples that the person gave was like talking about like Trump 2024,
Oh yeah.
gas prices, inflation,
Joe Biden.
Harry Styles in a dress, like
Yeah.
different things like that. So, what would be something
Ooh.
you would try and like casually bring up, but you're like purposely wanting to fight people on it?
Yeah. Okay.
Something
okay.
that like
Well-
my immediate family has gotten into fights over
Yes.
is anything about Taylor Swift.
Yes. I
Whether
love
or
that.
not Taylor and Travis are PR, whether or not Taylor, whatever, like anything Taylor, we can get in a fight about it.
I love that so much.
That's awesome.
It's mainly like my family against Sydney.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is probably a one-sided argument, but Sid, we are there for you, emotionally supporting you through.
Hey, she
supporting
was my
Taylor.
number one artist.
That true.
Exactly.
That kind
I
of
feel like
shocked me.
I feel like I have room to criticize her as a person because I
True.
support her so much.
Oh,
That's-
that's how you okay,
that's
okay.
so true.
See, I was thinking it was more funny about like you are almost like pick me energy of like Taylor Swift's not that great, blah blah blah, but really on the inside you love her so much. And
No,
you're
I
just
I love her
like-
music, and I feel like I've been very
Well,
open about loving her music.
Yeah. I think we have to be able to critique the things we love also, you know?
Totally.
It makes it more real.
Yeah.
I think it's more just her as a person. I think she is kind of funny as a person.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Same with Ariana. Like she's got her own stuff,
Yeah.
I love
but I love her
yeah.
music.
Yeah, I agree. I should have come more prepared with things that I would want to fight about. But I love bringing up anything that, like, I feel very, like, one way on it, but I can take a very neutral take because then I think I can, like, kind of win the argument in my own mind of, like, hey, you're wrong about this.
I just
But-
had an interesting conversation with my uncle on Thanksgiving, kind of in this realm, where we were watching a football game. We were watching college football game on Thanksgiving, like, duh, Thanksgiving. And I asked him, I was like, who's your favorite NFL team? Who's your favorite football team? And he's like, in college or NFL? And I was like, both. Like, start with NFL, I guess. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't really support the NFL anymore. And I was like, what? Like, and he's like, the
Why?
NFL
Because
is telling
of
me
the
how I'm supposed to
Colin-
feel about things.
Oh,
And the whole controversy about, like, you know,
Colin
the
Kaepernick.
Indians. No, like the
Oh.
team names, like the
Oh.
Indians and the Chiefs, and like, oh, I'm not, what are they called now? I'm not allowed to call them by their original name anymore. Like, are the Chiefs still the Chiefs? Can we still call them that? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, interesting. Oh, okay. And he was being very forward about just the NFL has been politicized and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Everything
okay.
is politicized.
So I
Everything.
So I feel like any topic that is
literally someone
not-
could.
yeah, you can
yeah.
make political. Even talking about like grocery prices or inflation
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
something. It's like you can find a way to be like oh, it's all those stimulus checks from 2020, you know,
Yeah.
or like
The weather.
right, the weather, like climate change,
Environmental stuff.
like
ooh,
you know.
honestly, I kind of love getting into environmental stuff. Like
Yeah.
just like in soft ways. Cause like the place that I work does a lot for like different environmental things, and people will be really bugged about different things that we like do and don't include in like packaging even. And I'll just be like, yeah, well, it's for like environmental reasons and whatever. And that's something I do love to like not argue about, but just discuss and educate on.
Yeah, totally.
Another one that I feel like does not apply to our friend group is religion, but like
Oh yeah.
like that could easily cause some issues.
Oh yeah.
Well, I feel like,
Yes.
and maybe cut this out, but like I feel like if I wanted to start a fight in our friend group about religion, it would have to be about like something like the validity of like this historical event or something.
probably.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
I don't know.
Like more
though.
about like church history and stuff,
Mhm.
and then trying to
Mhm.
like prove one way or a motive or
right,
something.
right.
Yeah. I think there's certain
Yeah,
people
maybe.
who could, they're probably listening right now being like, you're calling me out. But there's certain people who might get like hung up on church history stuff. And then there's other people who like really wouldn't care. So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
guess that's my thing is I'm in the like I don't really care boat, but I think it's interesting to talk about and learn about.
yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, because politics we wouldn't really fight about in our friend group. I feel like there's
Yeah.
things
I
we
feel like
all
we have for sure.
Oh,
though.
definitely in the past. Well,
What do you think somebody
we
could say to
recently?
you that would make you upset? Like if we were to have a fight about politics, what would it be about
Oh.
that would trigger you?
Anything. I'm like a snowflake. No.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, if anyone said anything like pro-Trump, pro DeSantis, literally pro any Republican right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, here's the thing. I don't get angry very easily. It's just who I am. But the things that would get me riled up per se would be anything relating to like LGBTQ
Yeah.
or reproductive rights.
Mm-hmm.
That I think gets me very quickly fired up. So,
Yeah.
but those are things where like I look at our direct friend group and I'm like, I feel like for the most part, like there's different levels for sure, but for the most part, we all kind of lean the same way.
Right. That's what I'm wondering is like.
So that's where I like am like, I don't know what we would fight about.
Exactly.
Like actually fight.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm trying
sure
to
we
think of
could.
like a less serious argument that like people
That's
could
the
get
thing.
in.
I feel
during the
like on
holidays.
like very superficial things, we could almost fight more. Like
if
like a
I
Taylor
can't-
Swift, yeah.
yeah, like Taylor Swift stuff or pop culture things.
right.
Or which couples are great together in Hollywood right now, you know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like which couples like in our friend group are good
Oh.
together.
Oh, like a little competition between us. Ooh.
No, just like who's good for each other.
Right. Exactly.
Who's not.
Who's compatible?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
I don't think that
Hopefully
will cause a
we've-
fight. I think that would just cause some feelings to be hurt. Like that's
I
the main
think
thing.
it would cause not fights among our group, but fights in the couples.
Yes. Because someone
Maybe.
would like go home on the way home. They'd be like, "Oh, this made me really upset." Talk about it with their partner, and then maybe,
Yeah.
well, at least that's my experience sometimes. You know, interesting.
I hope we gave you something to fight about with your family or friends this holiday season.
Yeah,
But be balanced and set boundaries with them also.
yeah. So next week is Christmas. Next Monday that
Oh,
we
yeah.
would be releasing an episode is going to be Christmas. But we are skipping next week to give everybody a chance to enjoy the holidays and everything like that. So we will be back January 1st with our first episode of 2024.
Yay.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. And then that will also be, I believe, the first episode that Jenny is back. Everybody send
Yay.
her. Well, at this point, by the time this releases, she will have been done with finals. But right now, we're sending
Send her
her
the
good
good
vibes.
vibes.
Yeah.
Good
And all the
vibes.
love.
Yes.
Yes. I'm excited to have her back. It'll be fun.
I know. We miss her. We love her. And can't wait to hear about how everything has gone this month.
Law
Because this
school.
apparently has been a very crazy time.
Yes.
So anyways, that's an update.
Alrighty, everybody. Hope you have a great Christmas. And you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, but Instagram at Beezy's Podcast. Again, on YouTube at The Beezy's Podcast. So we love you all.
We'll see you in 2024.
Yeah.
2024. That's crazy. Okay.
Bye, friends.
Bye.